So it's 4 minutes after 3, and we will officially call this meeting of the Selectmen to order. And we don't appear to have any privilege of the floor.
I don't think so.
We have no attendees today. Okay.
Hi everyone online. We're happy you're here with us.
We are happy you're here, those of you who are online. Approval of the minutes. I think we have 3 sets. I cannot vote on the ones from town meeting day because I hadn't been elected yet.
Well,
And I didn't attend the meeting.
I would say that there would be a problem if you hadn't won with 99.8% of the vote. I mean, I don't think there's any problem with you voting.
But I did.
You were at the meeting, so.
Yeah, I was.
The election didn't take place yet. It hasn't.
No,
hadn't
it was
concluded.
taking place.
It was taking
That's
place.
right.
It
so
was
that's-
taking place.
okay.
It hadn't.
But your term
concluded.
didn't
But your term
expire.
didn't expire
But it couldn't
until the
Election
election
person
was
was
finished.
elected.
was over.
Okay, all right.
So I would be,
Yeah.
you'd be fine.
All right.
voting.
So I didn't see anything in those minutes from
March 11th.
March 11th.
Okay.
For the ones on, first set that I read, it's item number 9.
Which date was that, Margaret?
The first.
The
The first date,
26th.
26th,
Yeah.
okay.
9 on correspondence. That should read, Mark reports that there is no provision to allow an increase in the first half tax bill.
Yeah,
Right.
There's
I
an
said-
extra of
Yeah.
in there. Yeah. Did you see anything else in that one, Mike?
No,
Okay.
I didn't even pick up that one.
Okay. So that takes care of that one. We're taking care of March 11th. And March the 19th, I don't believe I saw anything. I just read those. There's a lot of meetings. Oh, I was just curious though, are the appointments that we made at the March 19th meeting the same ones that are requested in the memo that appears later on?
You did not, as far as the full members, yes, they are the same.
Okay,
The alternates were not, you did not appoint any alternates. So
Okay.
We
those
didn't.
are new.
We didn't have those. Right?
And we may have changed the one appointment that was actually against Bruce's vacancy.
Mm-hmm.
So but now they're set, Pat Sullivan's okay, so if you just
Okay.
ratify
Okay.
that list.
all right.
that
So
would-
I didn't see anything in the
Nope,
third
fine.
set of minutes. So can I have a motion to approve the minutes from
February 26th.
February 26th, March 11th, and March 19th selectmen meetings?
Yes, you may have your motion.
And then I'll second the motion.
There we go.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Financial update, we did not go over this the last time, Mark.
Right. So we have billed the first quarter 2014 for water, sewer, and solid waste. You can see those quarterly bills are right on target. They're all in the 25% plus or minus a few, or plus a few. In the solid waste, we're at 30%. Part of that is from the regular weekly or bi-weekly recycling that we do. But those are right on track. The other departmental incomes, they're pretty much where we expect them. We're still a bit low in recreation, but we talked
Yeah.
about that last time.
Permits and fees look a little higher.
Permits and fees are a little bit over.
The dog fees are in.
Ah.
This-
Yeah, dog fees are in there. Also permits, a lot of the building permits for the year get pulled early in the year.
Oh, really?
So those are showing up now. So we're pretty much where we expect to be. As far as expenditures go, departments are doing well. Any that we are over, like the planning and zoning, 2,500 of that $3,000 expenditure that they've had so
Traffic
far
study.
was for the traffic study, which was a single budgeted item, so that's why they're over.
Insurance is always free-loaded.
Insurance is front-loaded, yeah. So we're all, other than that, we're pretty, and also with our debt service, principal and interest, we're usually front-loaded.
Tax bond anticipation notice?
Yeah,
notice?
that's paying the interest from, actually, we pay it in this year, but it's from last year on the
Okay, so that was deferred?
the bond anticipation notes. I
Right.
know every year the bill comes due in January.
Okay, but
So
the money
that's
was
why it's-
fronted earlier, so,
Well, that's the money they're fronting us on the rural development loan.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions?
Nope.
No? Okay.
Everything looks good.
Department head updates.
Chris is here.
I'm here.
Tell you about.
Must be
public
spring, you have a
safety.
T-shirt on.
Yes, it is. It's very nice. It was a pretty average year up at the ski area for us. So we're like within 1 or 2 calls from last year, so pretty average. The ambulance is coming along. We're waiting for final numbers from 3 different companies.
Are we coming in at all below by any chance?
No, we're having to beat up a few salesmen
By-
to get us down there, but it'll be fine. We're not certainly not below. So that we should have those numbers by the end of the week, and then I'll probably have a presentation once we make our decision on that. Other than that, everything else is going well. Starting to do some spring cleaning and hose testing and things like that during our downtime. Just waiting for Memorial Day.
And I heard they're gonna start tearing down, the Bancrofts building. That's the next week or two?
I don't think it's that soon. I haven't heard
Okay.
that. I know that's the plan.
Yeah.
Just their unit, not the whole building.
Right, but that's
Yeah.
it's half of that building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the plan, to demo that and rebuild.
Any other things as far as building permits? Like we're seeing a significant amount of funds in there. Anything big happening? Any houses going up?
I think a lot of it. One of the big ones is the athletic club
Okay.
renovation.
There we go.
Yeah, we didn't expect that.
Yeah, that was what,
It's
550,000?
a $700K
Okay.
project, so we get the fees from that, which is probably most of what you're.
Yeah, there's our.
Probably what
that's why
our
fees are
project,
up.
what we
Okay.
projected for the whole year.
Mhm.
Great.
Okay.
Any public safety issues that are coming up now as far as the snow peeling away and we're finding, fire lines or anything damaged?
No, nothing damaged. I did notice that there is some, I gotta get together with Mark and Jim on this. There is some striping, road striping.
It's on the
Stuff that-
schedule before Memorial Day if the weather cooperates.
I mean, that's the only weather-related stuff that I've seen around.
And have you been in touch with the Endurafest people?
I went to a meeting with Mark at Thornton,
Great,
and that went well for him.
great.
And that's the last I've seen of him. That was earlier this month.
Good.
I just received an email from the Forest Service that they're in touch with Mark and they're gonna have a
Yeah.
meeting with him at the end of April on site.
Great.
So they'll be here.
Okay, good.
So they are working with him.
Okay. Any other department head updates?
Jim is probably over at Windsor Hill with Dana White. Dana is installing the second meter pit from this week. He has decided that he is going to, and I was actually planning on talking about this later, but might as well cover it now.
Jim is
Um,
coming down.
He is?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll see if there's anything that he can add to that when we get to it then. As far as admin is concerned, you have in your packet a notice that I'm required to provide you as tax collector
Yeah.
on last year's taxes. I don't know why they wait so long, but that's the state. You ratified the ZBA appointment, so we're all set. We also emailed you a website screenshot
Right.
of how we're progressing. Did any thoughts?
I haven't had a chance to really sit with it.
Okay,
look at it.
nothing works, none of the buttons
Yeah,
work
no.
or anything.
It-
We're trying to make sure that we're on the
Yeah.
right,
I didn't see anything that
Path
bothered me
moving.
right off the top.
okay. Colors look good,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
layout kinda, and that's what we're kind of going for. We'll start putting the content in it now,
Okay.
if we're on the right track, right? Is that,
Yep, that's right.
okay. You wanna talk a little bit about what we did this morning with credit cards?
Sure.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, we using a new point of sale, and we can accept over-the-counter credit card payments for virtually all town services at this point.
Cool. Couldn't do it yesterday, but.
Couldn't do it
I know,
yesterday.
Mike looked at the
We
fancy
could-
machine.
Mike looked at
Is
the
that right?
machine
He's
and
like,
wanted to pay.
"Ooh."
Today's the day.
Today's the day.
Moving
I've
forward.
We had to have our
already
training
paid.
first.
We are trained
Yeah.
and we're up and running.
Great.
Just to review very quickly with you, the fees to do that are 2.95% of the charge.
Total
which-
transaction fee.
Total
Is
transaction
there a
fee.
minimal charge?
Yes.
There's a minimum of $1.50.
Okay.
Yeah, so up to $50, $52.
Right.
It's $1.50, and then you get above that, it's gonna be the 2.95%.
Right, and that we are allowed to pass that on to.
It all gets passed on, it's all paid by the customer,
Okay,
we
and-
don't pay any of that.
Right, and does the machine figure that out when you swipe a card for, say,
Yes.
$500? Does it kick it up to
That's
$512?
correct. It's part of the
or
point
whatever?
of sale. It'll be
Okay.
part of the receipt
And are we
paperwork.
disclosing that with a good sign up front, so when people walk in,
We will,
We
yep,
will.
that they're not gonna go, what's this extra?
right.
Is this also gonna be used at the rec department or just here?
We hope to replace the point of sale at the rec department with this system
Mm-hmm.
and
And be
with
able
the
to
added
take credit
bonus
cards.
of credit cards.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Alright. I did receive the resumes from
Okay.
Rachel and I sent her an email.
Yeah, I
looked at
saw
them
that,
and-
I
yeah.
saw that email, and I was just wondering, with everything that's going on at the Ray Center, I can do that, you don't, with the other 3 people you're trying to find, there's no reason that I can't work with Rachel to
Oh, yeah,
do this, so.
absolutely. And, you know, if I'm available, I'll
Okay.
be glad to do it. But I
Okay.
mean, most of the Ray Center interviews are set up for this Friday and Saturday.
Okay,
There are so many people that are involved in that interview
Right.
that getting the schedule is kind of hard. So it's like this Friday and Saturday, and then maybe on the 23rd,
okay,
and that's it.
okay, good. All
Okay,
right.
so
So,
I've got
whatever.
time in between there
All right.
if you want me, but you don't
Yep.
have to have me.
No, that's, it's fine, I just didn't want you to feel like you were having to switch your schedule around.
right.
So I'll get with Rachel, we'll
Mhm.
have some scheduled dates, if you're available, that's
Mhm.
fine, if you're not, I'll do it.
Go
with you.
ahead, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Good.
Okay.
So the website is all taken care of, that's all I have for admin. We'll wait until, to cover the public works stuff when Jim comes downstairs. Can we just move on and
Okay.
we'll,
Should we go back and pick up privilege
Yeah.
of the floor? Marilyn, did you have something?
No, thank you.
Oh, okay, all right. Calendar review.
calendar review, as I wrote in the memo, our next meeting, is scheduled for the 23rd.
I'm not here the
I-
23rd.
You're not here the 23rd, okay. I believe Mike is going to, Bill is going to be, so
And I will be here.
you will be here. Okay, so we'll
Yes.
plan on it, with you and Bill,
Mm-hmm.
and then if we have to, we'll change it.
Right.
But on the 23rd, I was going to ask that we meet an hour early.
Mm-hmm. 2
And
o'clock.
go over in a workshop setting the trash and water and sewer issues.
Right.
So maybe we can do it as a special workshop so that Mike can participate too, because I really, we just have a lot of, and we can touch on some of the things today, but we've got a lot of different
Yeah, there's
issues with trash and water and
huge.
sewer
Yeah.
that we need to go over. And and I really would like to try to do that as soon as possible. So
When is-
maybe when Bill gets back,
Send out something, maybe a Tuesday would work, and
Right.
we could start at 1 or 2 o'clock
okay.
and work as a workshop first.
Yeah, just a
and then-
workshop for an hour or two, and,
Because-
yeah,
Just the scope of what we've got to discuss
Yeah.
is,
yeah, so we've got.
But still meet at 2:00?
No, we would not, on the
Oh, okay.
23rd.
All right.
We would just meet at 3,
All right,
because we'll take care of the workshop prior to that.
we do it on the
Okay.
22nd.
Do it on the 22nd or
Or do we want
sooner
to
than
move the
that.
selectmen's meeting to the 22nd as well?
Yeah.
Well, we don't need to, it's,
Yeah, let's wait till Bill
Yeah.
gets back. Let's find out what his availability is.
yeah,
I'll send out an email, try to coordinate, and then even if we can do it sooner,
right,
than the 22nd,
right.
then we could leave the 23rd as a regular
Sure.
meeting, so
Right.
we're on schedule.
In terms of my calendar, I am going to be out of town from the 16th of April through the 21st. But I'll be here on the 22nd. And then I'm leaving on the 29th of April, and I will be back on May 21st.
And Mike, you're just a day, or is it a
no, it's-
vacation?
hopefully it's a day.
Okay. Good. All right. No problem. Good. Jim is here.
Yes. We hadn't completely gotten out of department head updates, so you can update us.
Doesn't look like it's gonna snow again.
Oh, good.
Thanks for jinxing us, Jim.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks
I always
a lot.
have to say it because I always expect it to come anyway. The water meter pit installation project has begun, so we've got one in so far over at Windsor Hill, and so that's 5 down, 2 more to go.
He said he'd have the second one by the end of the week.
Yes, and then we'll move over to, the plan is from there to go to Mad River, and go from there, so. And that's about it.
Now that still leaves, just in case someone's watching from Windsor Hill, that still leaves 5 or 6 pits to
Right.
do at Windsor Hill, but the ground is just too not cooperating.
Right.
So we'll go back in there probably later summer or the fall
Well, do you think,
to get back in.
okay, a question, because people are asking me, do you think the ground and grounds will be restored before the summer season in Windsor Hill?
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well,
Yes.
because you're talking now about having to go in and start digging in the
No,
summer.
the areas where he will have to go back in later are not where he has been doing the digging. The area where
Right.
he is doing the digging right now,
Yeah.
he will finish by the end of the week.
Right, but what
And
I'm,
then he'll go in and restore it as soon as the snow is gone.
right,
He'll go in and reseed it, loam it, and he's got to dress up around the structures,
Right.
and so that'll all be done this spring.
but is that all the pits?
No.
Okay,
no.
that's the question I have, is they're gonna be digging pits when people are here for their summer vacations? That's my question.
Well, probably at the end of the summer.
So what
yes.
we're gonna do is we're gonna hold off from, say, July 4th till close to Labor Day, because what I can see happening is a lot of people up here for vacation, and that place turning into a war zone. And people, with windows open, you're not gonna be able to control the noise.
Oh, I understand.
So,
Well,
I'm
that's,
just
but
wondering.
that's
what-
everybody, we're gonna get as many done this spring as we possibly can,
Right, no,
so that we don't have that big of an
okay,
impact
that's what I'm
in the
asking, we're
summer.
not gonna be digging when people are
Well-
here in the summer, we're gonna try,
We're gonna try not to dig in the summer. We're gonna try to get as many of them done prior to the 4th of July as he can.
okay, well, I just would wanna.
Is that,
That is the game plan.
yes,
Yeah.
Whether or not that is reality or not, we've been trying to get the worst areas completed first.
Right. Well, the point I'm just trying to get at is if people are gonna ask me, and we need to pay attention as a town to our summer residents who are only here for that brief time, to not inconvenience them when we can wait till September and resume again if we have other stuff for Dana to do, which I don't know if we do or don't.
No.
I don't know the answer to this,
Right.
but I'm hoping we make this as less intrusive as possible on the people living in these buildings.
We will try to do that, but we have given him an end date for his installations, which we've been extending. And, you know, I would not like, you know, I would like to try to get as many of these pits installed before the 4th of July as we possibly can. If the weather cooperates, he
Oh, no,
might
I-
be able to get it all done.
I've got you, I
But
just
he-
don't want it to look like a war zone.
The construction will be nasty, and I'm sorry, and I know that it's an inconvenience to everyone,
Yeah.
and we will try to minimize it to the greatest extent that we can, but some of these, you know, it looks like crap out there right now. It looks terrible, but that's because it's muddy and.
Oh, no,
we're moving
I understand the
equipment
money
around,
now,
so
I just don't want families coming up here with little kids where the kids can't go out and play because there are
we'll-
huge holes for them to fall
We'll
into.
try to not do that.
Yeah.
And we'll provide you guys with updates on where we are. But Mad River is the next one. Mad River on Monday. He'll be in there trying to install pits at Mad River. And as long as he can dig, he's gonna be doing it. Try to get out of here. I have emailed the association president at Mad River about the Monday start date. And Dana has been talking to Pete Hickson. I don't know if you've talked to Pete yourself, but Dana has
Yeah.
talked to him, and he's the property manager over there. Okay. All right. We got some other things on the agenda, but as
Okay.
far as ongoing projects, that's pretty much where we are right now. I
Mhm.
start to clean up.
Okay, under new business, we have a warrant to sign for the first quarter
Yep.
water sewer bills.
There it is.
Here, a black pen, this is red.
Yeah, but I'm not new. For official business only, Margaret.
No, it's only for signing stuff. This is fine for. WVRA, is that a second request for
Yeah.
disbursement?
Yeah,
Okay, cause we had just given them. in
Right.
right,
of
this
the
one
other
was
meetings.
dated
Yeah.
after town.
Yeah, what we
meeting.
do is we have a budget which they're allowed, so they're only gonna get so much money, so the bills they submit to us will be funded if they're
That's
along the
right.
lines of our guidelines until they're out of
That's where I
money.
was told to put it.
Right,
So I think this is for a wedding book.
right.
This is,
So I don't have a problem.
The last one was too, that's
Yeah.
why I was asking. It is a different wedding book.
Yes.
Yes, okay. So,
here you go. You wanna just sign on those lines? I'll do the,
do we need to have an official motion?
no,
No.
just, I think if it just reflected in the minutes that you
If,
signed the
If you
2,500,
wanna bring it up to the board.
Right. 2,400.
2,400.
Yeah.
You won't be here in 30 minutes.
I don't know.
So the health trust,
Yeah,
They gave us some good news?
They gave us some good news. Our rates
that
actually
they're
went
not
down.
able to predict these things with any amount of clarity in advance, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this is much later than we usually get it,
Mhm.
by 3 weeks or more. It's usually the week after town meeting
Mhm.
when we get it. We just got it Monday. We had budgeted a 7.5% increase. We came in at a 0.3% decrease. It was a reduction in loss experience from the previous year. And the reason that it took the extra 3 weeks is they went back to Anthem twice and made sure that they had everything and that we weren't gonna have some
Mhm.
kind of change later.
Is this based
Yeah.
on just our town's experience
No,
or the
this
region or?
SAU 48,
Okay.
the school,
Right.
and the school district, and all of the member towns of the school district are grouped and rated together. So everybody's getting this good news.
So we're
So-
saving $113 a month.
Yeah, well, it comes out when you do.
If it was
comes
apples
out
to apples.
10,000, because, yeah, it's only half of the year, so it comes out to about a $10,000 savings in what we budgeted to what we expect to spend. And in addition to this, we'll get the September, if you want us to take it as a premium holiday, we can either get a lump sum check or we can get a premium holiday for a portion of our premiums in September.
I like we've been taking the holidays.
I budgeted
Yeah.
for the premium holidays, so
Right.
I would prefer that we do that.
I would suggest and make the motion that we
Right.
Okay.
take it as a holiday instead of taking the refund.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll second that. All in favor?
All right.
Okay. All right, under old business, project update, have we already talked about all the water
No, you
meter
talked
bit?
about the meter pit installations,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
On the garage,
Yeah, I've got this here. Is this what we're
yeah,
talking
we
about?
have a signed contract.
Are these signed ad alternate change orders in the signed contract?
The ad alternates are in, so we're right now $3,000 below
I-
what
Oh.
what our starting base contract price is. What are the questions on the ad alternates?
Well, the questions were, I was wondering if we were gonna discuss any of these ad alternates before it was approved. You know, I don't know what the ramifications here of deducting a second coat of paint on the steel for losing $20,000. Is that a valid and a real thing to do? Because is it gonna last long with two coats of paint?
Should be fine.
Yeah,
It comes primed.
it comes
Okay.
primed
When
and,
after the erection, they touch up the prime. And I tell you, the primer,
Okay,
if it's undercover, will last.
okay.
the contractor said
So-
nobody paints their steel a second time.
So why did we have it in the budget for the first time?
Well, because that's the way it got spec'd by our architect.
All right, that's the question. So it looks like the stuff you've added here is pretty much ventilation stuff.
Most of it is ventilation stuff, yes.
Okay, and construction bond, define why that's a $24,000 deduction?
Because we're writing three-party checks instead of regular checks, so we've eliminated the need for the insurance. The insurance costs $24,000 for the contractor to get it, for a performance bond and payment bond. So by doing three-party checks, which means we write a check and it's the pay to line actually has the contractor's name and the subcontractor's name.
No, I
on it, right? You've
understand
done
the
that.
concept.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so by doing that, there's no need for a payment bond,
Okay.
so we can do away with
But
it.
some of my questions are, why were these in the initial bid?
Well, because in 20 years of doing
Yeah.
this, I have never done a two-party check. I've
Oh,
always had a
okay.
performance
All
bond.
right.
And that's a usual specification that we put out in our RFP.
Okay. Deduct for block fill and paint masonry concrete, what's that, Jim?
That would be the interior separation wall between the garbage truck bay and the rest of the shop. Rest of
And
the
so
garage.
instead of doing that, we deduct the $10,288 and we do a spray seal on the interior and exterior block walls for $6,430.
Okay, so it's a $3,000 difference
Yeah.
there.
Mhm.
All right, and architect fees, another 14,000?
Yep, well, they're architect, engineering, and testing fees. We've got compaction testing, we've got concrete break
Yeah.
testing, we've got the final architectural drawings and stamps.
Okay, but
And that's all.
my question was, why wasn't that in the first bid?
No, because that was a separate contract. All the architectural and engineering fees were a separate contract directly with the town, not through the contractor.
Okay, well, okay.
And that
It should
was a
be-
budgeted item. That was a budgeted item in our overall budget when we put it together back last July. There was $22,000 in there for construction engineering. So this is part of that
But why is it an ad if it's already in there?
because the starting price of the 777, it really is not an ad. It really should be a separate contract, separate from Constructs. So I have it in there as an ad because it has to be added to the 777,000 because it was never
Okay.
part of that.
But does the 22 where was the 22 originally? It wasn't in anything.
It was just in the overall budget
But
for
the
the building. Because we actually have an available, it was part of the 798,000, Mike, that we had in the available budget on January 1st of this year. That we had more than the 777. That's where it was. It was in that $800,000. That's why we
Okay,
asked
but-
for the project price to be a total of $800,000.
See, I was under the impression the project price was down to 778 to all in. So the project, what you're telling me was 778 plus 22. Because when it was presented, we were looking at being $24,000 under budget of the 800,000 for the whole
Mhm.
project.
Yeah.
So the 24 was omitted, so we were actually on target with this whole budget all the time. So that's why we're doing the add deletes, to
That's
keep
right.
it, bring in
Absolutely.
at the 800,000.
Right.
So we were never really at 777.
We were only at you're right, yes, we were only at
So-
777 for the physical building and
I-
the construction of the building.
I'm looking at the big
And the
picture.
sidewalk.
I thought the whole project was 777 instead of 798.
It was 777 plus the engineering.
So we're having to make these changes here. A lot of these changes are necessary to keep it at 798.
Well, no, because in the 777,000, Brian at Constructs actually had a special inspection requirements, which is part of the 14,000. That's why there's a deduct for $7,000. So the actual increase,
So it was the
the impact,
14,800 and the 7.
minus the 7,000.
Okay.
Okay, so there was an engineering and inspection allowance in the 777.
But that was 7
But it was
instead of-
only 7 instead of
21.
14,
Instead of 21.
21.
That's what brings you up to the 798. You're at 21,000, but you're losing 7 and putting 14 in.
Yes.
Okay.
Because somewhere out there in Never Never Land was sitting 22,000
Yes.
in architectural
But
things.
7,000 was actually in the budget.
7,000 was put in by Constructs
Mhm.
into their
Right.
building
Okay.
cost
I'm just trying to get the
Yeah.
thought process of
Yeah.
why we're doing this and changing this to get it to this dollar amount
Well, we're still below the 798 total too.
this week.
Well,
Yeah.
that's why we have
Yeah.
24,000 in contingency. Yep,
Yeah, we haven't
Well-
started digging.
and we haven't started digging.
All right. No, I just had to understand these numbers.
Yep.
Are there any more empty conduit pipes perhaps?
Yeah, no.
We're gonna find another gas tank. How about that one?
We better not find another gas tank, but we'll see.
Okay.
We have been, final thing on this, we have been talking to Mark Henderson and Sovereign Engineering, who are the engineers doing the state remediation project, right? They
yes.
gotta dig out all of that
Yeah.
contaminated soil. We've got a plan, it's not going to hold up our construction schedule, Mark's got that. We may have some impact on some use of our contingency for dewatering, because if we get any water and it is contaminated, we may have to dispose of it, rather than just pump it out onto the ground. But we'll handle that. He's got a plan for being here and watching that happen, and we will make as much of that part of the OD fund, part of the state funding as we
All right.
can.
And how much are we giving Mark for this?
He is getting a proposal to us. I don't have that
Have we
yet.
solicited other proposals, or we're just gonna go with Mark because we've dealt with him?
Well, no, I want to use Mark because he is
No,
the state
I
engineer.
understand, because he's been,
And he's been doing this, so he's gonna have the most information.
he's not the one who missed the 2 tanks, was he?
No.
Okay.
Okay. How about project update on the pedestrian village planning?
Pedestrian Village, we have a contract with SE Group. They have come in and they have done their initial meeting with the project subcommittee from the planning board. They will be here tomorrow for the planning board meeting, and they will start their stakeholder interviews tomorrow while they're in town.
Are they
So-
making a formal proposal to the planning board tomorrow?
I don't proposal or a formal presentation about what?
A formal proposal is, I know we authorized 90,000, there was 70 was the approximate cost before. Are they gonna come in and say, this is what we're gonna do and this is what it's gonna cost?
No, we've already done that with the subcommittee. We have a contract with them for $80,000 and up to $4,000 in reimbursable costs, not to exceed the 4,000. So a total price of $84,000, which the chairman of the planning board has gone over, the subcommittee has gone over, and we have that contract in place.
Okay. And that includes the 3,000 we've already,
No, that, the 3,000 was out of our operating budget because that was done in February.
I understand, but is this making the project, once again, the cost?
Yes, 87,000.
So it's
total.
87, it's not 84?
That's correct,
Okay.
87 total. But that's 87 out of $93,000 budgeted and approved by town meeting.
Right, we've approved the 3 from the planning board.
That's right,
And
in
the
the
90 for the
operating budget and
contract.
90,000 for the contract. Yeah. Yeah. Is that, are we
Yep,
on
yep.
track? Is that okay?
You said that they're going to interview stakeholders.
Yes. There's a whole list and the Ray Center is included in that.
Okay.
I think it was,
See if anyone to interview.
who's the president of the?
Chris
Chris
Beerbauer?
Beerbauer is
Okay.
on that list.
Okay.
Yeah, and Nancy Knight is a member of the
Mhm.
subcommittee, so
Right.
she's making sure that the Ray Center is,
Okay.
yeah. We are, got a very long list of people to talk to.
Okay. I was just concerned that if they hadn't set the meeting up already, that they would have trouble
Yeah,
finding people at this
exactly.
time of
Yeah.
year, so.
Well, I think
That's
Nancy
why I
was
was
working
asking
with
the
Mark
question.
Kane to try to find out where Chris could fit into the
Mhm.
schedule.
Mhm.
But
Okay.
we'll work that out tomorrow.
Okay. Water and sewer bids.
Okay, so we have the form letter that you have at your places. That form letter and the hard copy of the survey, I think it's right there, Mike, that one right there. That is being prepped right now. It's going to go out to all single-family homeowners and the property owners of the condominiums, which are going to get the internal individual water meter. In addition to that, you can see in the letter that there's a link that if they want to go, we will have the survey online if they want to fill it out electronically. Or if they want to PDF it to us, we've set up a special email account specifically for water meters. And they can contact us in any of those ways, or they can call and we will talk them through the survey if need be. And all we're seeking is contact information so that we can, our intent is to keep a running list as soon as we have a contractor selected, and those bid packets are currently on the street now. When we have a contractor selected to do this work, then we will set up individual appointments and go into the condos or the single-family homes and install the meters.
All right. As we met yesterday and we went around looking at all this stuff, we talked about the potential of an issue with someone not wanting someone into their property.
Yeah.
Now, is, in the link that we going to have here, Tom, to the WV water meters at waterville.org, is it going to have the ordinance and the specific rules where it says we have to do this and you have to allow us entry?
No, we were not planning on linking that particular ordinance because it's about 70 pages long, but we can pull out that page.
Well, I'm just concerned with
say-
someone who's gonna get this and immediately the response is, they're not going in my house, they're not
Right.
gonna do this.
Understood.
And then there are gonna be bunches of phone calls and a bunch of phone calls that aren't returned promptly,
Yeah.
and everybody getting even more upset.
Mhm.
Where if, as we discussed yesterday, if there was a link to, this is what we have to do to make this project go as part of the federal funding for this, you kinda have to do this.
An information
Yeah,
sheet.
and if you don't wish to go along with this, we will not provide water to you.
Right.
You know,
Or whatever you guys
Yeah.
decide to do.
yeah, or
Yes.
just like that, so people can see what it is we're doing as opposed to, when we talked about doing the grinder pumps.
Mm-hmm.
Out there, people were talking about, I don't wanna give you an easement, I don't want you in my basement, I don't want you doing this.
Right.
So I think because of how people are all over the place here, and a lot of people aren't in town,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think it needs a link to what we're doing, why we're doing it, and the necessity that it kinda has to be done. Because I just see people coming home at 5 o'clock, getting this letter, getting a panic, calling the town hall, getting a bunch of calls, if not all getting able to get a hold of someone the next day or within a few days, people stewing over this and getting more upset. And, you know, I think when explained to people, I think people will be fine.
Okay. We'll
Does that make
draft
sense to you,
something
Tom?
up and I'll email it out.
Sure.
Anybody feedback, Margaret?
I'm reading the letter
Yeah.
again after listening to some of the things that you. Yeah.
And remember too, Mike, that they're remote readers.
Oh, no,
And so that, you
They-
know, we gotta make
Right.
it perfectly clear that there's not gonna be a monthly meter reader or a quarterly
exactly,
meter
that's the kind of stuff we
Yeah.
need the link to let people know that it's a one-time thing, they're coming in.
reader. We hope one time, and we don't have to ever
Yeah.
fix one, but
But it's not gonna be, because you think about the people reading your meters in the backyard with the gas company and all the other stuff.
Margaret?
Yeah, the reason I was reading the letter again was to see if, perhaps we could change that second paragraph, just to say that it is required, you know, that if they want more information on this federally sponsored project,
Right.
you know, please go to this website, and then, you know, rather than try and put all the information in the letter.
Yeah.
But, you know, as I
Now,
read through
what I
this,
think I'll do, because
Yeah.
we already have a lot of these envelopes
right,
stuffed and
Right.
ready, so what we can do is put a mailer in with them.
In a different color paper maybe.
In
so
different
people
colored
can see it.
paper, we've got some.
Make it FAQ.
yeah,
Yeah, an
Frequently asked
FAQ.
que- Yeah.
Yeah.
That's and then that'll be easier to put up on the website.
Because I just see people tending
yeah.
to ostrich on this one. If I don't pay attention to the letter,
Right.
they're
Right.
gonna ignore me.
Right.
And then we're gonna have someone who's we're gonna have to pay a meter company to come back because they weren't all done.
Well,
right. I
well,
had to
that's
get-
what we need to talk about next week or whenever
Right.
we have the workshop meeting, because I need guidance from you. We have an ordinance, the ordinance allows us to go in and do it, but what does that mean? You know, do you want us to, we're not kicking in doors, obviously, but.
No.
But is
But
our,
but again, if we don't get in
Right.
and people continue to deny us, then what is the consequence?
but
you
do we
know,
have a
is-
consequence as a, just to, because maybe you
Mhm.
can answer this question might answer it. As part of the qualification for the federal reimbursement and the federal bonding of this money we've already spent,
Yes,
what percentage of participation do we have? Is there
100%.
there we go. So if we don't get this, the government can come in and go, no, you only got 60%, we're not
Right.
giving you your money back.
That's correct.
And that's $1.9 million we could probably use back.
We probably could use that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, an insert at this point in time might
Yeah.
help. I just noting, I had to get to the second page, and I was reading it quickly, to get to something that said, This will assist town government with a water meter installation by providing contact information. And you know, I'm just
It
thinking,
doesn't,
it didn't jump out in the
Okay.
letter, okay? But that's, if you can cover it with an insert or something like that, saying, you know, we're requesting this information because it's part of our federally funded project and we need to get 100% of people online, and for more information, go see the FAQs.
yeah, and we probably can do
At the
that in
website.
third, you know, cut them in thirds
Got that
and
green paper.
put it in that green paper, and I think that will be easier to do, and then give them the contact or the link to the FAQ sheet.
Yeah. I think that'll
Yeah.
work.
As a first step, because it's not
Yeah.
gonna be an easy process.
Well, no, this was the first step, just
Yeah.
trying to get their contact information, so, and if they want us to use their property manager, if they'll let us talk to the property manager, that'll simplify things
Yeah.
a lot, because we'll be able to coordinate directly with him every day whenever we need to.
Yeah.
So,
No, I get that, it's just, I think people need to know cause, effect, and why.
Mhm.
Are we putting something in the wigwag?
Yes, we
Yeah.
can.
You can also get it on, keep it on the
Yeah.
website, you know.
Yeah, keep it on the
A
website.
banner.
Put
Make
something
it
in-
exciting like
I think it
Christmas.
It's there now.
It's
It's there now.
The banner is the first thing you look at on the town
Okay.
website.
But no, just kind of a repetition of the
Yeah.
message, you know, about
Yeah.
what's this water meter installation project all about,
Mhm.
you know.
Okay,
Yep.
Yeah, I think you have until the 18th, don't you, to
yeah,
get into
the
the
18th or
wigwag?
19th, yeah.
Alrighty. So the water and sewer bids are then gonna be in by April 30th,
Yep,
right?
and hopefully at the first May meeting, we'll have the recommendation for award and get them started end of May, beginning of June. Because again, we wanna try to get into as many of these units and get out as we possibly can. Most of the installations will be a couple hours, if that, in some cases.
Once they get going, it depends on what they have for existing plumbing.
Right.
But I envision that some of them, most of them be hour and a half probably.
Yeah, so even for those who might be here will be hopefully very short inconvenience. Water is only off while they cut the pipe and install the meter, so. Water shut-offs, Jim?
Hmm?
Yeah, water shut-offs. It's gonna be fun summer.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Okay. Here's another favorite subject, the
Oh,
ski
yeah.
area transportation
All right,
budget.
I've read this and I have my opinion.
Well, we're not giving, they haven't asked for any more money,
Well,
have they?
we paid the first quarter,
Right,
Mhm.
right, which was the winter quarter.
Mhm.
right.
It's not really a quarter, it's more of a third of their $48,000.
Mhm.
Then I have another bill of $17,000. And so my question is
Yeah.
pretty simple, what do you want me to do?
What did we budget?
$48,000.
I don't wanna pay it yet.
Okay.
Because the Resort Association has taken the same opinion that I'll voice now, is that we want to sit with the ski area, because the ski area has started providing transportation from employees in and out of Plymouth, as well as a shuttle bus for skiers that are paying to come in and out of Plymouth every day. So I don't think it's fair for the townspeople to pay for that part of it. This is a service to our community. The other part I have a real big problem with is that we are paying a share of their depreciation. We don't own these buses. They own the buses. So I think we need to talk with the Resort Association, have a sit down with the mountain and negotiate this.
Yeah, I think we should do some more negotiation. With respect to the depreciation, even though they do own the buses, I think that we certainly should be paying some share of, you know, making sure that they have buses that work in the future.
I
mean,
understand that, but I'm sure they're
that's been
taking.
kind of constant. But I do think that the point you made, Mike, about the, all the going back and
Right.
forth, that there's gotta be something that they can tell us about the overall mileage that's
Well,
involved.
they're actually going to do that as part of the pedestrian
Right.
village project. They're sitting down, and SE Group is going to go through the entire budget in detail, how they operate, hours of operation. I talked specifically to both the SE Group and to Chris Sununu about going down to Plymouth. What is that service? Who are they servicing? Are there any other opportunities for people here in town? Turn it into a regional transit system? I don't know the answers to those questions,
Right.
but those are all things that are going to be looked at as part of the project.
But I think
Now-
before we give them the next money, that we ought to express the view that we shouldn't be paying for the Plymouth trips at this point in time. Right?
I'm fine with that. We have been paying for the Plymouth trips for
No.
15 years.
This is,
No,
this
this
is,
is
this is
different.
new Plymouth trips this year.
No.
They sell
No.
a service to the college now where you can buy a pass for, as a
They
Plymouth
have been
college
doing
student.
it.
No, they haven't.
Okay. They have been doing it for the whole time that I've been here.
This is
They
a-
have been going to Walmart. They have been
I'm not
taking their
talking,
employees.
that's not what I'm talking about. They run a bus to Plymouth. If you're a Plymouth College student, you buy a $30 a year bus pass, and there's a bus that picks up Plymouth College students in the morning and runs back to Plymouth College at the end of the day
Right.
with students.
Yes.
Not staff, employees, or anything else.
If I may.
Tom was there.
Please.
Well, two different things. What you're referring to is new this year. They do sell a
Okay.
pass to students, and they make 4 trips, pickups and drop-offs over the course of a day.
So this is in addition to their
Yes.
morning
Th-
and afternoon.
This is completely separate from what they do for their employee population,
Sorry,
which is
I
trips to
thought that they
Plymouth,
were
to
using
Walmart,
that
to
trip
eateries,
to
to
shop.
shopping, specifically for their employees.
So no more money until when?
Until we sit and talk to them and they can justify these numbers and talk about them.
Okay.
And the other thing that I think we need to make clear is that if they want to continue to have town money supporting this service, that we need this information prior to going into the budget period.
Well, yes.
I mean, obviously, their costs are going up, but in spite of multiple inquiries about, where's it going, what's it going to be, here we are sitting, having been through town meeting, and we
month
finally
after
got the
town meeting.
information.
And I'd like Rachel involved in these conversations because they've cut back on what they've been providing to the rec department
In the school.
and the school, yeah.
All right.
I would much rather have them, if they have a bus service, doing the buses rather than our rec bus going out
I understand,
with
but
the schools.
what I'm getting is
You know.
they've been able to do whatever they want and just pass the bills on to us with us just blindly writing the checks.
Well,
Okay.
I don't know whether that's totally true. Haven't we in the past been paying something like 25% of their total?
Right, we pay a quarter,
pay
the
a
resort
quarter.
association pays
And
a
we have
quarter.
not been paying 25% of their total for the past few years. Because it would have been over 50,000, we're only paying 58 or 48.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's only a few thousand off,
Right.
but we have not been paying 25%
Well,
of their
no, the last
total.
time we had this conversation, you made me take the depreciation out, and
Not
then
all
it
of it,
was
some of it.
50, well,
Right.
the majority of it out, and that's where we arrived
I
at
think
the
they wanted
48,000.
54 and we gave them 48,
48.
Mhm.
which
Yeah.
is 6,000, which is not, well, could be.
Yeah, that's,
Alright.
I mean, it came, because we had the discussion about the depreciation,
Mhm.
and I had taken some of it out, we
Mhm.
put some back in, and,
Right.
we arrived at the 48,000.
Okay. But I think that would be a good conversation to have. It'd certainly be exciting. So, yeah,
Got it.
okay.
So
And now
the
that
next,
now
well, it
that
can't
the
be the
ski
next
area-
meeting,
Yeah, now that the ski area is closed, it should be,
the beginning of May.
yeah,
Yeah.
it should be,
Ooh, that's
more
gonna be a
available.
big meeting. Good.
Yeah. Maybe I should call in from overseas.
Probably cost you more than we'll save.
Yeah, what day do we get back here? So we're talking the second meeting in May.
Right.
Second meeting in May. Okay.
Okay. We're down to correspondence. Mark, Cascade Ridge homeowner.
Yeah, that was just for information. They
Yeah.
had requested an update. Dave provided it, and they thanked him for it.
Okay, and this was the same thing that he had talked about at town meeting, correct? Only he didn't use any names at
Correct.
town meeting.
Any updates, Chris?
No, that's the most recent one. That was last week, I think, or the week before.
Privilege of the floor too. We have some new people who have arrived for privilege of the floor. Yep.
No, we have nothing to say.
All right.
How about old people? We're good.
Yeah, Marilyn.
I do have one continuing request, which I forgot to raise earlier, which is I believe that the sidewalk coming from Town Square heading up across Valley Road to Moose Run, also known as Lost Pass Road, is in the wrong place. Nobody's using it. And I've asked before if it could be moved so that it is more logical, because it does get busy there in the summer. And people are also crossing Valley Road to go to the golf course from Town Square, so it would be nice to have I think it's probably one of the most important crosswalks in the whole town in summertime.
Okay, so we have a crosswalk there now, but you don't think it's in the right place?
Yeah, look when you are out walking.
Mhm.
So if you walk down the hill
Mm-hmm.
from Lost Pass Road, you have to, and you would just logically walk straight across the street and get on the other sidewalk. You know where this big signs are heading into Town Square. And it's like 25 feet away from that intersection. Maybe not, maybe that's an exaggeration, 20 feet. It's just kind of, I'm sure there was a reason for it, but nobody's using it.
It's off center. It's off to the right.
Is that where the turn down is, Jim? Is that why we put it there?
Couple of reasons. That site was chosen because you have a very, very wide intersection, a diagonal crosswalk, may or may not work. We don't have a crosswalk going to connect across past the sign complex to the other sidewalk on the other side. So in order to put it over on the golf course side and come across, we really should have a crosswalk coming across the intersection. So it was decided, my direction was, because the ski trail dumped where it did onto Lost Pass Road, just uphill of the intersection, that's where they would like to have seen the sidewalk, the crosswalk, and that's why we put it there.
So is it too far down Valley Road towards the pond, is what you're saying?
Correct.
You want it to be more towards the intersection?
Right. It's too far for somebody to walk out of the way, they'll just risk it and run across the traffic. I know, because I've stood there and watched.
So you want a crosswalk or you want a sidewalk?
Sorry.
Crosswalk.
Not, was,
Crosswalk.
crosswalk.
Okay.
The painted portion, not
Yeah, the
the
white line.
constructed, that's easy.
Did I say that correctly?
We will,
Crosswalk.
yeah, but from a public safety standpoint though, is that,
What do you think, Chris?
is it,
It
what's,
depends on your objective. If it's to get across to Lost Pass and walk up Lost Pass, it's, not bad. But if you're talking about golf course, people from Town Square walking to the golf course, and you have another issue. And if that's where most of it is coming from, then you may.
Well,
I mean, that's not the most logical access for the golf course from Town Square.
Do we need to put one on the other side?
well,
as
the one on the other side, the sidewalk is so crappy, they're in the road anyway. That's the problem that we have.
You'd almost have to
It's
do
so
a
low,
diagonal.
water is always
And that would
standing
be-
in there.
Like
Yeah.
a couple hundred feet long.
It's either do a diagonal or it's, but I mean, that, you almost have to put in 4 crosswalks.
Yeah, you almost,
Yeah.
yeah.
Can you put in 4 crosswalks, or will that screw people up if one person's on one crosswalk and one on another? It's gonna be too confusing.
Well,
So I
there's
mean-
2 there already, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's one that
think
goes
we
in
ought to
front
put
of the
the
sign.
4 in.
We can put the 4?
I think we
Yeah.
ought to put the 4 in, and
Well, the
that's
4th would
really.
be across Moose Run, which
Mhm.
probably would,
Well, but I'd
Yeah.
rather have it
You
there
still gotta
and
direct it.
have it
Balance over
direct
to
people,
For-
because I see
for
what Chris
people
is
that go
saying,
with
for
their
people,
golf
how do
carts
I get to
across.
the, right.
And now they're
Exactly.
gonna
you
go
don't,
across.
people do go diagonally, because there is a lot of flow of traffic from sort of town center
Right.
to the golf course. And they do go diagonally, 'cause
Why don't we
that-
have the
And it will be
Consultants look
part of
at
the,
it.
Yeah,
we
the
will,
consultants
it will
are
be
coming, why
part
don't
of
we
the
let them
pedestrian
make that
village.
the recommendation?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You mean this village study? You
Yeah.
mean I'm gonna have to wait another year?
No,
No, they're- they're
For
starting
this
to-
year, we'll talk to them if they have any quick recommendations, but the plan, we'll put in the 4 for right now, because that's the way our current, we're not gonna build any more sidewalks or do anything construction-wise this year. So we can paint the 4 in there for this
Is
year.
there a way for people to walk across where the sign is? Is there
Well,
enough frontage
they're
in front
just,
of it?
no, they're just
Yeah.
walking, they're just, right now, the crosswalk is just in front of the sign island, right? Going across Valley Road. I mean,
Right.
Town
Village
Square.
Road.
Yes,
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 that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So we'll just link the 2 ends of that,
Mhm.
and we'll do something which will be temporary for this year, that's a
Mhm.
little more clear about where people should be crossing. And
My-
try to get rid of these diagonal
Yeah,
crossers.
we're gonna, whatever we do this year better be close to what we
I
really
think it
want,
will.
because it takes quite a while for that paint to disappear.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can't just.
You get out there with a
change-
buffer, come on, Jim.
Just use a light gray paint, so it blends in, so it looks old.
If you
Yes.
put a sidewalk across Valley Road.
Crosswalk, you mean,
Crosswalk.
not sidewalk.
Crosswalk across Valley Road
'Cause I
to
rode
about where
sidewalk.
the
I did
golf
too.
Me too.
I'm sorry.
course sign is.
Yeah,
You're gonna be walking on the grass when you get off the crosswalk. There's like no logical place to
we'll,
go.
we'll dump
So you
it
do
right
want
in.
sidewalk.
we'll-
And yeah, so now you need a sidewalk too.
Well, but we gotta see what the consultants say too, so they may have something that we can paint a little differently than our 4, our box. But we'll bring it back and talk about it before we paint, which will be hopefully in early May, right?
I mean, it
In
also
May.
seems like in the
In May.
summertime, when during all the peak periods in the summer, that it would warrant some more attention just at that intersection, like, I don't know what, one of those little, not
We
certainly
put
not
the
a yellow
pedestrian,
flashing
no,
light.
but we put
Yeah,
the
we can get one of
pedestrian,
those pedestrian
we put one of the
signs.
Yeah.
pedestrian signs up, and that really helps over by the athletic center. It really
Yeah.
slows
No.
folks
You
down,
know.
and we can get another one of those, that's
I think we
fine.
should get those bump strips.
No, we are not
No,
putting in
no more
traffic
bump
calming.
strips.
You've got those in storage, don't you, Mark?
No, we got rid of those, so I can't put
It
them
used to
back
be on
on.
the side there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
they're
got rid
gone.
of
All right.
Thank goodness. Yeah. No,
Any
I know what you
other
mean, but we'll slow 'em
privilege?
down.
Of the floor? Yes, no? Just here to listen. Okay.
On the trash, we didn't really touch on the trash, and I know we're gonna have
Yeah.
the workshop. Do you wanna start the discussion so you guys can think about it, or how do you wanna handle that? Just
I-
at the workshop?
I think
or
at the
what?
workshop starting the discussion, we can be here for 6 hours
Okay.
without any kind of resolution.
Did we get any response from the associations when we
I
Let
requested?
it go out.
I got one phone call.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
To the
got one
benefit of
phone
the
call.
public, what's going on is we've had some problems with the dumpsters because we don't have the level of continuity of service we had with property managers, where the staffs of the property managers in the past would pay attention to the dumpsters and keep the areas around them clean and would take a look in the dumpster and give it a poke. So if someone comes and there's bags in front of the slider, they would put their bags down on the ground because they didn't realize that they could take a stick and slide it in. So we've been dealing with a lot of frozen dumpsters, unfilled dumpsters, dumpster areas where people can't get into them, people can't get around them and all that. So we sent out a letter to the association presidents to talk to them about, and we sent the guideline as far as what is required to keep a dumpster and the litter ordinances and all that, and asking for their cooperation. But what we've seen now is it's a little bit more complex than this, where we really have to reassess what we're doing, how we're doing it. And that's why we're gonna have a workshop on it, because we've got to really we might look into farming out the whole solid waste disposal system. We might look into, just changing how we do things. And some of the things are so radical that I don't even wanna bring them up because I don't have any background in where they would lead us or where they would go.
Yeah. But, you know, there was actually a time in March when the guys couldn't pick up the trash because the area, and the trash dumpster has to sit flat on the ground so that the truck can come in and go in underneath it, and there was snow and ice in front of them and that kind of thing. So, you know, it was a bit of a mess
Yeah.
for a short period of time. So we need to address some of those kind of issues. And we have some other things going on with people coming in from out of town to leave us their trash and recyclables.
I actually had someone who I know is from out of town wave to me when I came over yesterday while they were at the dumpster.
Yeah.
It was,
So, you know, if we were making money on it, that'd be a different thing, but we are not. At this point in time, we're very close to break even on some things, but
right, but
yeah.
if we're looking into having to add a second truck or more staff, it
Yeah.
becomes a real, long-term burden.
Does that apply to these down here too, or?
It applies to the whole process.
Yeah.
It's just, the face of it's changing constantly, and we're new at this and we're not professionals, so it's interesting to say the least.
I mean, one of the radical things, you know, that you could do, and as Mike says, we haven't decided that we're going to do this, but one of the radical things that you could do is decide that we're not going to pick up trash around town anymore. Everybody's got to come down here.
Would make it fair for me. I like that idea.
Fair for me.
Yeah. Would not be very popular, I don't think, with the condominium associations at all. But if you can't pick up the trash because of how the dumpsters are being left, at some point in time you have to deal with that situation, so. And the bears are out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, so. Okay. Board concerns and directives?
I've
Do
got
you have
nothing
anything?
new.
Nope, I didn't have anything
Mark,
new in that
anything?
area.
Nope.
All right, so I guess we'll go into non-public. I'm sorry, Margaret, that's your line. Sorry to step on your line there.